Hello there, welcome to bitparade.co.uk's look at Oddworld, New and Tasty, which is a remake of Abe's Odyssey, which was I think it might come out on the PC first, I don't know, but I remember it as a PS1 game. I never played it back in the day. So this is all new for me, and that is, just bear that in mind, because I do some very stupid things in this video, and you'll see me struggle. For example, I don't know how to activate this rope, and yeah. So, well, anyway, let me explain a few things first. This is recorded in a different way than we usually do, or than I usually do. I don't have a means to capture directly from the PS4. I don't have a capture card or anything, or I do, but it's not HD. And I did a video and put it up on Twitch. That didn't work that well. It's not very good quality, and I tried doing some audio with it, and the audio's not very good. Yeah, so this I forgot what I was saying now. Yeah, so the way I got this was there's a thing on the PlayStation called Share Factory. So you use the the share button, and you capture the last 15 minutes, and then you go into the thing called the Share Factory, which is an app, a video editing app, and it very nicely puts on a PS4 like intro for you and a PS4 outro that I am going to cut off, and it.
Okay, you can go.
Yeah, but if you go into say, it will only let you post to Facebook. I don't have a Facebook account, and that's not the best forum for this kind of thing anyway. But you can, if you go into your settings on the PlayStation, you can get to your data, essentially, all your you save all your games and all that sort of. Basically, you could clear off your hard drive if you wanted. And the videos are on there under a section. They're under the share thing if you want them on the share thing, and yeah. So that is how you can copy onto a USB stick, and that's what we're doing. And I'm talking over the top of it, and that's why I'm getting distracted, because I am watching this when I should just be looking into the darkness somewhere so I can talk. But yeah, so this is the game's actually 1080. I'm fairly sure it's 1080p. The video's 720, which is not bad. It's still tasty. Gives you a look at it. I think the game itself looks fantastic, and it's definitely a proper HD remake. It's the original doesn't look anything like this, and they've redone concepts and things like that. It's not just smoothing over the pixels and up in the res and stuff like that. This is the ground up remake of an old game. And you can kind of tell that in the how it controls and stuff. Like I've put this in the written review, that it's quite a deliberate, or the movement's quite deliberate in the game, quite precise. So this is quite a fluid game. It's a puzzle game. It's not point and click, but it's something like, I guess, we've had a few of them recently, the Fall and the Swapper. And it's that kind of game where the puzzles are in the environment, and you have to use physicality to get past them. So with Abe, you will have to run and jump and grab all the ledges and duck and roll and all this sort of stuff, and you sometimes have to do it quite quickly because you trigger something, or you get an enemy's attention. You need to run. You need to use that enemy to come over to you. You need to, it's dynamic, it's fluid. It's something you have to do and have to do quickly. But using an analog stick to do this stuff, I think it would be much better suited to a D-pad. And a lot of my problems, and you see it in this a few times, I fall off ledges. I don't grab on to ledges because I've took a step forward and I didn't mean to, or I didn't take far enough. One far enough across. I blow myself up a couple of times because I'm not quite near enough, because the difference, or I'm too near, and the difference between that millimeter on a screen and just a slight movement of an analog stick, it doesn't work particularly well. Like a D-pad, you could just tap that, but yeah. So this message says find bell song, then chant. So we need to find this bell song, and you don't really have to do anything to get it. But so this is a minor puzzle. Annoyingly, I watched a bit of Giant Bomb the other day, and this is a section they did. So you've already seen this, and I apologise for that. But I actually managed to do a better job of it than they do, even though I clearly am doing something stupid here. But there we go. Look, I've solved it. don't fully understand that I've got the bell song when I get it though. So yeah, I do let myself down. I let myself down spectacularly in about 5 seconds. So yeah, just as a reminder, this is the first time that I've played this game, and I think some stupid stuff. So you haven't even seen the worst of it. So yeah. So all things considered, though, I really like this. I really enjoyed it. I've only given it a 7 on the site, which is might not sound like the best score, but I had a few issues. I had issues with a glitch where a couple of times I had to restart chapters because of problems I had. One of them, you saw how I pulled, I started chanting and those birds went around me. I couldn't get them to disappear, and then when I started chanting the next time, so I could run around and these birds were still just floating around. And then when I next chanted, I would just get locked in the chant, and it didn't matter what, I went back to the checkpoint and I reloaded my save and stuff like that, and it didn't matter. I would just be stuck in. It would happen again. I'd wait until the end of the level before I prayed, and I had to pray to get out of the level, and I'd get locked in it, and it was only by restarting the entire chapter that it solved that. This is indicative of a problem I've had as well. It doesn't always. As someone who's never played the game before, you see it says chant to ring bells. I've chanted 3. This is the 3rd time, so I've chanted 3 times, not managed to get those bells to ring, but I have 4 times. This is the 5th time, and it's just a matter of holding it. But as now I know that playing, having finished the game, I know this now, and it's just there's a few incidents like that where I, as a newcomer to the game, there's a shorthand that by the end of the game, I knew, it was obvious, by the end of the game, I know how to play this now. But at that point, and it's stuff like rescuing your fellow Abes, I can't remember, Mudokons or something like that. These people, but in the factory, I was leading them. I didn't realise I could save them, and then I sort of was told that I could, and I think I was told that I could, and I knew I could pray. I got a message about that, but I didn't know that you saw it earlier on. There was like these birds in a circle, and I prayed, and I could then jump through the portal. You can make that happen, and they will run through the portal to escape. I didn't know that. It at no point told me that. Now I know it now, and I must have discovered it at some point. But I think I discovered it by accident. I don't remember being told, and it's from sort of reading around. It seems a few people had the same problem. So, yeah, there's moments like that where the game can just be the wrong side of obtuse. I guess it's not even that obtuse, but there's an assumption, there's a shorthand that I don't have, and given that this was the first in a series, a few people must have suffered it themselves, first time round, and it happened later on. There's a puzzle later in the game where I really struggled with it and had to go and look to a guide, and then it was a whole thing I hadn't considered. I had no idea I could do this, but more importantly that Abe couldn't do it, someone else had to, which is some of the ways the game. So leap, okay, trial and error there, a bit of trial and error gameplay. Frustrating at points, but funny now watching it back. But yeah, there were a few moments where, and that the controls, the issues with feeling like I was missing out on some information, and the bugs and stuff. That was sort of why it's getting a 7 when I actually really quite enjoyed it. That's one of the things as well that happens again later on. I was near enough to that, I think, for the game to know that I wanted to go in there. I pressed square to go in, and you would think, there's the only thing to do there. It happens quite a lot, and you see it again in a minute, where he just sort of shrugs the camera. I don't know. You kind of, it's fairly fucking obvious what I want to do, but that's not enough to ruin a game. Frustrating though, if you're in a bit where you've died a few times and he starts doing that, and especially if you need to do something quickly, it could be really frustrating. It's those kind of things where it shows it's an old game, which is, I think, fascinating. I think it's really interesting that you can see it's a proper hasty remake. You're playing a game, or I was playing a game for the first time, almost as someone who played it back in the 90s would have played it. I mean, it looks better, runs better, but the experience is the same. You know, it's the same kind of controls, it's the same puzzles, it's the same everything. Just looks a bit better. Um, so does that hold up? And could I still enjoy a game like that without the burden of it looking an absolute mess? You know, and we need to be played on a PS1 and stuff. And yeah, the game does still hold up. It's still full of good ideas. It's still clever. It's still likable. It's still all this sort of stuff. So yeah, like I say, I think it's worth your time. The game is it's come under, it's had some controversy because it's £18, which I think it's $30 in America. That is quite a lot of money for a download game that is, especially a hasty remake of a game that's this old. But they have put the work in. It's a shame it's not completely smooth and no rough edges and all that sort of stuff. I'll go quiet for this bit.
Where paramites live before I was a child. Jack up, Loretta, you don't want to get shot. Hey, you don't want to get shot. There you go. But we rounded them up, ignored their cries. All right, we got to this. Maybe we get to take off early. We cut them all up for paramite pie.
So I actually think the main game looks bad. Like I think this background here looks better than that cutscene. And so I don't know why that is. I don't know if they're using like uncompressed versions of the original cutscenes. Maybe back in 1996, 7, CG didn't look that good. So maybe I'm talking nonsense. But yeah, either way, I think the game looks great. I'm less convinced by the cutscenes. Yeah, so I forgot what I was saying now. Yeah, so the cost of it. I mean, it's worth knowing. I got this for free. We got sent review code for it. I didn't have to buy a PlayStation for it though. I did buy a PS4 to play it. So it had to be good, I guess. But
I don't know.
see, I knew it was coming. I watched this back before. Yeah, you go down pretty easy if you get spotted. You do get a chance. If you're running away, you can make a leap for a ledge and you might make it. But yeah, so the value of it, I don't know which side I fall on with it. It took me, according to the PlayStation, it took me 6.5 hours. But a lot of that would have been paused and would have made a brew or something like that. So I'd say a lot of that. I'd knock half an hour off that easy. If you've played the game before, it's going to take you a lot less time. You understand the rules. You won't die as often as being. You understand what is expected of you. Okay, I'm going to do something very, very stupid in a minute. So I won't draw attention to it any more than that though. But this you do sort of see it's something I put in the review that you sort of see that you solve puzzles by doing in this. It's trial and error, but it's trial and error where it's like, okay, so that doesn't work, but I've seen this thing now. I know that this bit is there, and I can. There's a lot of that where you you make a wrong turn, but you see something that reveals the next, that reveals a solution or the next part of the solution or something. And you ended up, and you will see now that I've pieced the game together, or I pieced this puzzle together. So I kind of wish I picked a different video to show. This is near the end now, but a different clip that was a bit more involved. But this is, this isn't spoiling too much. But you see that I solved it. And it's from doing it, and that's one of the things I like about this. I think it's. I think that's a great way of doing puzzles, and it sort of keeps it going throughout the game, which is to its credit. So, yeah, like I say, I think this is great. I think it's possibly worth the money, but up to you. So, anyway, hope you enjoyed. If you did, like the video. If not, don't. But yeah, visit us at bitparade.co.uk.